Happy New Year, guys! We've come to the end of another kinda terrible year, but hey, you know what was less terrible than 2020? The movies. While not as good as a year like 2019, this year was kinda awesome for movies. It brought new releases from widely acclaimed and loved directors. We had a new Burnham special after 6 years, reboots of beloved franchises, your Marvel stuff, and most exciting for me, a ton of great music documentaries. So I thought I'd share my top 20 releases of the year, documentaries and specials included. Or at least the ones I saw. There were a lot of movies I had trouble finding, especially international releases. And there's some movies I just didn't watch. Yeah, I still haven't seen Dune. I just don't care about it. And I could have waited till I've seen some more of these to make this video, but who's gonna watch a 2020 rank video in March? Before I start though, I do want to share some honorable mentions, which include Belfast, Cruella, Annette, and Nobody. All movies I enjoyed a lot, but I maybe enjoyed the next few a little bit more. By the way, this goes for my whole list when I say this was not very easy, because I enjoyed all of these for different reasons, and some I like equally, and I don't know. It's pretty arbitrary, but it's somewhat accurate, I think. So to start, my number 20 is T10. This is a last minute bump up, so sorry Nobody, love you Bob Odenkirk, but T10 is really good and very weird. But honestly, less weird than how it was pitched to me by fellow film fans. I feel like I'm easily disturbed, so I don't think this is me being desensitized to anything. But yeah, this is super cool. I didn't really understand it at first, but now I think I do, and it's a weirdly sweet story. And there are a lot of references to Queen's News of the World, which is one of my favorite albums, so that's worth something. Number 19 is The Green Knight. This felt like a fever dream because it's weird, and I also fell asleep watching it the first time. But it looks incredible, and Dev Patel is great, so hey, I think it deserves a place here. That's it. At number 18, we have Bergman Island. I only watched this because I'm Tim Roth's biggest fan. Never seen a single Bergman film, but being someone who might want to be a writer/director one day, it was really cool to watch the main character's process with writing her screenplay and then see it come to life. And nice to see Vicky Krieps play a character with a better relationship with her older husband. Haha. My number 17 is Red Rocket. I like this a lot more than the Florida Project, but I couldn't tell you why. I like when movies use music as a motif, and they definitely did that effectively with Bye Bye Bye. I thought the end with it playing in reverse was super cool. I also love what Sean Baker does with color. It makes the mundane so beautiful, and I definitely like the reds and yellows of this more than the purples and pinks of the Florida Project. Mikey is a horrible person, and watching him scheme and do all this crazy stuff is like a car crash you can't look away from. And overall, Red Rocket kind of reminds me of the Safdie's Good Time if it wasn't actively trying to give me a heart attack. Number 16 is Ghostbusters Afterlife. Hey, I like nostalgia, and I had a great time watching this. I saw it at a drive-in with my family, and that for sure added to the experience, but as a big Ghostbusters head that actually tolerated the last reboot, I just think this is fun, and I have nothing else to say. Number 15 is Last Night in Soho. Wish this could have made it higher, but don't worry, Edgar Wright makes an appearance on this list again. I kind of said everything I think about this in my Edgar Wright ranked video, but long story short, this doesn't feel like an Edgar Wright movie, and it isn't executed super well in my opinion. However, I did have a fun time watching it, and the costumes and music are great. But yeah, probably my biggest disappointment of last year, but still something I enjoyed. Number 14 is The Velvet Underground. I thought this was super cool. The Velvet Underground are one of my favorite bands. I mean, I'm wearing a Lou Reed shirt as I write this, and I like learning a bit more about them. Something that I really like in music docs is when the way it's edited and its overall style fit the band it's documenting. And this does that so well. The handheld camera footage and the Warhol-esque effects with the hypnotic drones of the Velvet's music feels like you're watching an art exhibit. Number 13 is Tick, Tick, Boom. I don't know what else to say except for that I had an awesome time watching this. I think it's super well directed. Say what you will about Lin-Manuel Miranda, but as far as musicals, he knows what he's doing and he does a good job. I'm really happy that people recognize how great Andrew Garfield is, especially in this role as Jonathan Larson. And yeah, that's it. And number 12 is The Power of the Dog. I didn't know if I'd like this one. A Western slow burn isn't something I'd usually gravitate towards, and though it didn't hold my attention the whole time, I really liked it. I might have put this higher than some movies I maybe enjoyed more, but I think it deserves this spot for how well done it is. Number 11 is Inside. Does this count? I think it counts. I'm a massive Bo Burnham fan, so I was incredibly excited for this, and I definitely don't like it as much as What, which is my favorite of his specials, but I think the production and editing here is just so impressive. Is he actually declining? Is it an act? Is art a lie and is nothing real? Who cares? I love most of the songs, some seem a bit preachy, and a lot of them got insanely overplayed on TikTok and I can't stand them now, but they are good. Me and my dad spent pretty much a whole week listening to the album in the car. Though I prefer his older work, I think this is an absolute achievement, and it makes me feel bad that I didn't create anything from my own struggles during these times. And number 10 is The Mitchells vs. the Machines. This is unbelievably good. Most animated movies these days are oversaturated with internet and meme humor that just comes off as out of touch, which this definitely suffers from a bit, but it's done really well. Like, yeah, there's your crazy-eyed pugs and teenagers be texting and don't look up from phone, but everything else is pretty funny for any age watching. When I found out the people behind this were from Gravity Falls, it all made sense why I liked it so much. Alex Hirsch was my hero at age 12, and while he did not write this, he was apparently still part of the process. Something I noticed that I really appreciated was that the lead character Katie's sexuality was barely mentioned and was just normal, which of course shouldn't have to be a praise, but it's not something you see often in kids' movies. But yeah, me and my family had a great time watching this. Number 9 is The Tragedy of Macbeth. This is the reason the video is out later than I maybe wanted, but I just had to wait knowing it would for sure make the list, and I was right. I really think Macbeth and Joel Coen are a match made in heaven. It's just slightly weird, and you can't put your finger on why. From what I remember of high school English, I think my favorite Shakespeare we did was Macbeth, and this take on the story is so cool. I mean, the dagger being the door handle is so subtle yet effective, and the witches being in the one vessel played brilliantly by Catherine Hunter. I think Harry Melling is really great, and after this and Queen's Gambit, I'm really excited to see more of him. Who knew Dudley would end up being one of my new favorite actors? And of course I must talk about Frances McDormand. She's my favorite actor, and this role is perfect for her. And I'm jealous that high school English classes will get to watch this instead of whatever I watched. Number 8 is The Suicide Squad. This was a nice surprise. I can't believe that a superhero movie made it this high on the list, but it's that good to me. Compared to its predecessor, it's so fun and bright and looks like an actual movie. The cinematography is just so cool to watch. It's so creative. The characters are all awesome. They're hilarious. I think we can guess who my favorite is. I saw it in the theater twice, once at home, and I might watch the Peacemaker show. I don't know. And number 7 is Spencer. Didn't know how I'd feel about this one. I haven't seen Jackie, so I didn't have anything to compare this to, but I really liked it. I think the atmosphere this creates with the camera work, the hazy cinematography, and the jazzy score is really interesting. It's kind of claustrophobic and alienating at the same time. Kristen Stewart is so good as Diana, and it's just really heartbreaking to watch her feel so trapped knowing she never makes it out. Number 6 is Judas and the Black Messiah. I think a lot of people consider this a 2020 release because it was eligible for the awards last year, but it's technically 2021 and it's incredible. I definitely need a rewatch because I watched this whenever it came out, and as of right now, I don't really have anything specific to note, but Lakeith Stanfield and Daniel Kaluuya are amazing. All awards were so deserved, and it also looks really good, which I appreciate. And number 5 is The French Dispatch. You know me, Wes Anderson is kind of my thing, but as good as this movie is and how exciting it was to watch, it does not make it any higher than this. I already touched on French Dispatch a lot in my Wes Anderson ranked video, so go check that out, but yeah, it's good. Number 4 is The Sparks Brothers. Yeah, I absolutely love this. I don't think I've ever seen a documentary take such creative liberties, and it makes this such a fun watch. I can't wait to see Edgar's future endeavors in the documentary medium. I went into this pretty much oblivious to Sparks other than 2 songs and left one of their biggest fans. It's so thorough in recounting their history that by the end of it you'll know at least 1 song from each of their 26 albums, which is more than I can say about some of my all-time favorite bands. My only complaint is because of its thoroughness, it does run a bit long, but other than that, I think it's pretty much perfect. At number 3, we have Licorice Pizza. This is a controversial one for sure, but I really like it. I think I just love being in the world this movie creates. Similar to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it really focuses on immersing you in this period, and as someone who's obsessed with SoCal in the 60s and 70s, it's just perfect. I can really relate to the theme of growing up and being in a sort of limbo of maturity. I'm not really a teenager anymore, but I don't feel like a full adult, if that makes sense, and I think that's something Alana struggles with as well. I'm not without complaints. I actually have quite a few concerning the obvious issues and some other technical choices. I have a PTA rank video in the works, so I'll touch on it more there, but I think overall the good outweighs the bad here. And wow, Cooper Hoffman blew me away. I really hope to see him in more stuff, but if he doesn't want to be an actor, cool, this was more than good enough. And number 2 is Come On, Come On. I don't know if I would have liked this as much as I do if it had come out at any other time, but it's just what I need right now. Come On, Come On is a movie I see a lot of myself and my life in, and the struggles of these characters are similar to my own right now. I wasn't doing very good around when this came out, and going to see it was just so therapeutic and peaceful. Joaquin Phoenix is so good in this. He's usually pretty hit or miss for me, but I absolutely adored him. Woody Norman is also amazing. As someone who's known quite a few strange kids from artsy homes, they just hit the nail on the head with Jesse, and Woody does it so well. After seeing this in theaters, all I could think about was, I can't wait to watch this with my mom. And that brings us to my number 1, which is Sing 2. Not really, but it's pretty close to my actual number 1, which is The Beatles Get Back. One thing you need to know about me is that above every interest, every niche obsession I have every once in a while, nothing ever tops the Beatles. The Beatles played a key role in my growing up, and I don't think there'll ever be anything more important than their music in my life. I'm sure a lot of people found watching 7 hours of some guys playing the same songs again and again boring, but not me. My eyes were glued to the screen the entire time. Seeing them just create these songs that have been the soundtrack to so many people's lives is just so special. For me, the coolest part was seeing the rooftop concert from all angles and the extra takes, because before this, we only had the Michael Lindsay Hogg version, and that's the only way it's been seen until now. As far as the restoration, I think this looks incredible. Well, there is some very obvious skin blurring, but other than that, it looks good. Like, really good. If you've seen the original Let It Be movie, the difference is insane. All the colors are so vivid, from the lights of Twickenham Studio, all the greens of Apple Studios, and of course the great fashion of everyone. Except John. I think the dude changed his clothes maybe twice. I feel like I could spend the rest of my life watching only this over and over, and if that isn't deserving of the top spot, I don't know what is. And those are my top movies of 2021. Thanks for watching, guys. Again, this list could be different if I saw more movies from last year, but I'll continue updating the list on Letterboxd, so go check me out there. Also, this background music is boring, I know, but trust me, I looked forever. This was the best I could do. And yeah, see you later.